Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Greasy Pigeon Podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Sullivan. With me, as always, sporting the black and gold because it is that time of the year, the one and only Kevin Trussler. Kevin, how you feeling start of the NHL season?
Fall is in the air, my friend. It's fun to see the boys are back on the ice, and more importantly, the shocking start to how our boys have done in the black and gold. It's great to know that there's a game on every night, and we are gonna be great until April.
Yeah, till it matters.
Till it matters.
Yeah, exactly.
But for those planning the parade now, because this is when planning's cheap.
Absolutely. No, and hockey is in full swing, and we've been having a lot of fun on socials. If you're following us, you've seen the videos. Doing a weekly top plays of the previous weekend or recently played games across the state of Florida, all levels. We had great participation. I do want to send a special thank you to both the Tampa Bay Juniors and the Florida Eels. Both engaged with us, sending us content, allowing us to use content, right? Supporting and showcasing, I should say, their players and their top plays, as well as the youth teams and those parents that are sending me videos. And what's been cool is we've had some submissions from the SFGHL, the Girls Hockey League, some really good plays coming out of that league, which is awesome to see. Those players get showcased because they rightfully deserve to be showcased. They're doing the same thing. So it's cool to see them. It's cool to see the 10U goals, the 16U goals. Our buddy Ashton from the Florida Alliance was doing some cool things on socials and tagged us, and we were having a little fun on TikTok with some things with some of his teammates. So a lot of moving pieces in the hockey world here in Florida as the seasons are off in full swing, and we're just getting past the Columbus Day tournaments that went on this past weekend, and we've been sharing all the posts because, Kevin, the amount of trophies that were won from teams out of this state across, not just in Florida, battling against each other, right? Someone has to win, but out of state, Dallas, the CCM, Silver Sticks, like these teams are out there winning. It's just awesome to see.
It's alive and well, man. We've said it before and we'll say it again. As the rinks continue to come in, the game is going to grow that much more. And for those sending in clips, I'd love to see more tender saves.
Exactly.
Goaltending is part of it too.
I agree.
But fantastic to see how in state we're doing and out of state we're representing, and looking forward to seeing how things continue to roll as the season goes on.
Absolutely. And I do want to just make you all aware, it has been, if you're wondering, wow, it seems like it's been a minute since I've heard you two talk so eloquently about the sport of hockey in the state of Florida. You are not wrong. There was real life, unfortunately, sometimes gets in the way, and work commitments and travel commitments, and some pleasure in there. You were in Knoxville seeing your son, and I was up in Minnesota twice seeing my son and doing some highlights and some clips and content from the Steele County Blades, which we'll get into here shortly. But we are back, and we are very much ready to get more on our regular hockey season cadence. Next week's show, we have a returning guest from early on in our venture into this. Mental performance coach Chris Goodman is going to join us on our next episode. We're going to spend a long time, probably the entire show, talking with Chris and letting him help you there as a parent or on the ice better your game and get the mental side under control and all that, because as we know, no matter what level you're at, that mental side of the game creeps in, and he's a great resource. So looking forward to having him on next week as well.
No, absolutely. Specifically his profession is that in baseball, and he had to deal with what the Rays had to deal with this past season. So looking forward to hearing what he brings to the table. It's always good when we get a chance to chat with him.
Yeah, for sure. He's a great guy, and obviously a coach and played hockey and baseball, and elite level athlete, an elite level professional, and an elite level individual. So we're lucky to have him next week. But let's put that on the back burner, Kev. I do want to start real brief because I know we don't spend a lot of time talking generically into the NHL, but I do want to start with the start of the season and how Florida teams have kicked off specifically, which then kind of ties into how the Bruins started because they're played Tampa, and that was a surprise win, way the Lightning have started. So let's start right here in Tampa. Actually, no, let's put Tampa on number 2. Let's start with the defending 2-time Stanley Cup champions out of Florida. Injuries, right? No Barkov, no Tkachuk, yet they're 3-1. What do you make out of what's happening down there in Florida, South Florida?
Not to go predictions, but I didn't have them going deep in the playoffs, this upcoming season. There's a lot of miles on those bodies, and you're starting to see it with some of the injuries that have come on up already. And somehow they continue to still get it done. That shows how deep of a squad they are. I believe they had a defenseman that went down today that's going to be out for 4 to 5 months, which is a bummer again for them. But yeah, surprising. We're only a few games into it, but they've got the winning record. And, it was definitely an exciting last two exhibition games that were played between the Battle of Florida, between Tampa and the Panthers. So a lot of hockey left, but the fact that they've come out of the gate strong, it shows what a true champion's like. They will over skill, and in this case, they've got both, right? So,
well, it doesn't
yeah.
hurt that you've got, I don't know, a pretty good goalie back there in Sergei Bobrovsky. A good goalie can fix a lot of ills when the team isn't playing well in front of him. Not that the Panthers aren't playing well, but Bobrovsky definitely, they have the confidence. They step on the ice, they know they have a chance to win just because of who's between the pipes, right? Edmonton would love a little bit of that because Stuart Skinner has looked, well, I don't know, like Stuart Skinner should look early in the season, and things don't look great in Edmonton. But again, early, I'm not worried about them being able to produce. The fact that they still, we're getting off topic, but the fact they still got Stuart Skinner in net in Edmonton in year 3 of this thing, I'd be so mad if I was an Edmonton fan. And I'm sure your brother Trev is loving it as a Calgary fan, even though they're not doing great to start. But man, that Alberta's just a dumpster fire right now out there when it comes to hockey.
Well, it's one of those things that, look, the guy's got him to 2 cup finals in a row. So he's doing something right there. It's the depth. And, you don't win it in October, but you can definitely lose it in October if you come out of it, way behind the 8 ball. And, depth wins. Look at our guy, Marchand. He's at the top of the scoring for the team right now. It helps when you have a guy that's playing third line typically when everyone's healthy and they're first line, second line person. So, again, Florida, how they've been how they've been built has been unbelievable. They're extremely deep. They're tough, and you're going to know, when you play them. And they're not going to roll over and let the others scratch the belly. So
no, Bobrovsky's off to a 167 goals against and a 925 save percentage in his first 5 games I think they played. I'm sorry, 3 games.
Yeah.
3 games. Well, they played 4 now, so I think he sat the 4th one. So in the first 3 starts that he went out, he put up those numbers. And to your point, yes, Dmitry Kulikov and Thomas Nosek both went down with injuries. Defensemen, depth forward, like they're getting hurt across the board. But as you said, Marchand's taken on a bigger role. They're, Ekblad's scoring and Lindell's scoring. Reinhardt's still there. Evan Rodriguez, like the list just keep coming. And there was some, I shared it on socials weeks ago. They've added, remember that we talked about late, I think right after they won the cup, we talked about their core that signed through like 2030. They just added like 3 more names to that list. Like these guys are taking never before seen discounts to keep this thing together, which is great for a while until they all get old. And then you're going to have an entire team of air quote or old guys that are holding on at the end of their deal. So the fall off could be substantial. But like we talked about when it comes to the Lightning run and the Blackhawks run, I will trade. I will trade for what I'm seeing now for maybe a downturn down the road. Now the Bruins, so let's pivot to them quickly. Not quite the same deal. They were at the dance quite a few times, right? But couldn't take home the prom queen except 2011, the one time. What we're seeing now, I don't know if some of those moves, I can't think of the guy from St. Louis that they brought in, they signed the long ass deal to that got hurt, only played like 2 seasons. Man, I can't remember his name. David Backes, the David Backes deal. Dude, bring him in, trade some pieces, sign him to a long deal. He absolutely handcuffs you, gives you nothing. Like deals like that are now hurting the Bruins. However, they're 3-1 on top of the Atlantic with Florida and Montreal, which I'm not even going to pretend I know anything about what's happening in Canada. So we're going to ignore what's happening in Montreal right now. But what do you think is up with the Bruins early start?
Well, you know what? They can't rely on just, 1 or 2 pieces. Although Pasta's off to a really good start, they've got to do it as a unit. And, that's Bruin hockey at its best. It's playing 500 feet. 500. Is it 500?
It's how 200, buddy.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I don't know what are we playing. We're playing a little soccer over there in the Beantown. They got the
500 feet. Yeah.
They got the double. They got the double Olympic size rink going.
Man, it's a lot. They
They're playing
cannot
on,
skate them. That's why. That's
they're playing on the Charles River up in Boston.
yeah. Oh man. But no, again, they've got one superstar in my eyes, and then they've got Charlie back on the point. They've got to do it together, and this is the time for those fringe players or the ones that are being elevated up to the line that above what they should be playing, a chance to shine, and hopefully we'll see some diamonds in the rough. That's sort of what happened with the Lightning, right? With some of the depth that when Cooper was down in the A, he had the Palots and the Killorns, and when they came up, no one knew who they were, and they became household names. So yeah, it's one of those that you can't get too excited in October, November, really until the new year. We said it before, the Blues broke our heart the last time our squad went to the final, and they're at the bottom of the league that year. So when the calendar changed, but then there's the Sabres.
Well, hold on before you get to the Sabres, right? So I was going to say part of
Okay.
Boston's positive start involved a really dominating performance against the Sabres. So their schedule has helped the Bruins get to where they are. Exploiting some of their opponents has helped the Bruins get to where they are. I was going to go to Tampa first because that was Boston's first loss against a Tampa team that was winless at the time, and then ended up beating Boston to get their first win of the season. So, Chris, we'll get back to Buffalo in a minute, but let's go to let's stay in Tampa first and round out the kind of the big three. What do you make of Tampa's shaky start?
I can't put my finger on it. Honestly, I would have thought, I know that they've played some pretty tough opponents, but it's definitely a shaky start coming out of the gate. I was able to watch the game last night, the tail end of it against Washington. And for a road, they got a point, they lost in overtime, but yeah, I can't put a finger on it yet. It's one of those where I know they've got some new guys that are in. Final two exhibition games against Florida were extremely spirited. If you look at the total penalty minutes in those games, it would make anyone that grew up in the 70s and 80s proud. But, with them, they're a veteran team. They'll figure it out. They've got, enough leaders in that locker room to straighten it out. So I'm not worried about them. It is a little bit head shaking just seeing them, how they came out of the gate.
Well, considering when you think of how we talked about Florida and the reason that, with their injuries and their deficiencies in the roster, they come out there, they got their wins, are playing well because of Bobrovsky in net and the confidence, whatever. Tampa has the same thing, or should have the same thing, with Vasilevsky in the net. Vasilevsky's played 3 games out of the 4. He didn't play against Boston. He's got a 408 and an 870, right? Compared to, what did I say, a 1 and some change and like a 925, right? I mean, completely different numbers amongst the 2 Russian goaltenders. And New Jersey, and I don't know how good New Jersey is going to be this year. Maybe they're going to be something, they were in the mix last year. But
they had big injuries last year too, right?
Well, but getting outshot 16-2 and giving up 3 goals in the first period of that game, yowzers, buddy. What, welcome to the season. Here we go. So I don't know, giving up 4, 5, and 3, 3 goals against Washington. Okay. That's decent, right? 28 saves or 28 shots against, 25 saves. Fine. 893, but I feel like we saw Bassey do this last year through half the season. And they did enough to stay in, and then he got hot, the team got hot, and then they were a player near the end again. So I'm sure if you're on the West Coast, I wouldn't be too concerned about the Bolts at this point.
Not yet, anyway, right? I mean, that's one of those. Once they hit their stride, that's a team that can become extremely dangerous. Yeah, I mean, I think they picked up a goalie on the waiver wire, which is a little concerning. I don't know if their backup went down or if that's saying that maybe Bazzi has something wrong with him. Who knows? But, it's one of those things where I'd like to see him play less games and be crisper and sharper in those. I know he wants the net all the time, but, it's a lot of miles on that body, considering the runs that he's been on as a young man.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, now let's get to the Buffalo Sabres. And the only reason we do this for our listeners that are wondering why we go from Florida to Boston to Buffalo is because, and no, we're not talking Calgary today for Trevor. Quite honestly, no one cares about the Western Conference until playoffs. So, Trev, tough luck, buddy. We'll deal with you guys.
They're 1-3, though. 1-3 for those that.
Great. We'll deal with you guys in March, Chris and Trev. Enjoy yourself. But Kevin's brother Chris is a huge Sabres fan, and Buffalo's in our division, and we get to continue to pile on Buffalo, and we'll get to some fun stats here in a minute. But Kev, just start with how's the family group chat going?
I've got a defeated older brother right now. It's before the even season started. He's like, just give us the last place trophy, and they've come out of the gate chasing that thing like they want to parade for that last place. He said by Christmas he might have a new team. I'm gonna ship him up some Bruins gear. We'll see if that can persuade him a little bit. But 14 straight seasons that the ice has come out right at the end of the regular season up there in Buffalo, and it's looking, at least coming out of the gate, it might be a solid 15, which is a more memorable number than 14 if you're missing the playoffs. But it's they're doing what they typically don't do, right? Usually they come out hot and they're in front of the pack, and they're planning the parade before Thanksgiving, American Thanksgiving, and it's this year it's quite the opposite. So maybe the mojo, it might work. I've always said no one planned it in October or November, and they clearly are not.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. And their next game, so they've lost to the Rangers, who are having a tough start at home anyway. They lost to the Bruins. They do play the Senators their next game, which is the night we're recording tonight. The Senators are 1-2, bad start for them. It's kind of what you expect out of Ottawa. So maybe tonight's the night. Now, if they lose to Ottawa, they're really diving to the bottom. But it's not just that they're losing, Kev. 2 goals for and 10 goals against for a -8 goal differential through 3 games. I know the stats are early, but they fit my argument, so I'm going to give you all of them. -8, Chris, if you're not drinking, I'll give you 3 seconds to crack a beer. So -8 is the worst goal differential in the league, and I've played the numbers out. They are on pace, Chris. They're on pace to go 0-82, clearly, because they haven't won yet. So that stat's obviously not gonna play out, but it's fun to say. They're on pace to go 0-82 with I did the math, 54 goals for, 273 goals against for a -219 goal differential, which surprisingly enough is not the worst, but would put them second to the wonderful 74-75 Capitals that I know nothing about, who went -265. And not only that, let's just take a road trip to 1974. They gave up 446 goals that season in 1974. Like, what the hell was happening in Washington? No one knows, but that's just crazy numbers. So needless to say, it's going to take quite a bit for Buffalo to turn this thing around and be a player, but I am really looking forward to multiple midseason check-ins, and I think we're going to have to get Chris on the show. I mean, I think I'm all for a Chris, Trevor, Kevin reunion on this thing. Always makes me laugh, especially when the teams are out of it. So that's my sorry, Chris, that's my Buffalo rant, but just interesting to see. And honestly, on a real note, though, they have a lot of talent at Buffalo. Tage Thompson's up there. They've got the young guns. I don't know why. Management, coaching, I don't know what it is, but it's crazy they can't put something together.
You need that veteran leader that's won a cup previously and maybe is on the downward, of their career, but has that voice, has been there, has done it, has gotten it done. And right now, I don't think they have that person. So 14 years in a row, you can't say it's going to go on forever, but it's tough. You've heard me say it before. I hope Buffalo makes the playoffs. More importantly, I hope Buffalo wins tonight. If not, then there'll be a wellness check sent out tomorrow morning for my brother.
We may need to get your brother to sign an agreement, and we can record his reactions in your conversations and use it, because I think it could be some gold. I think it could be like Emmy worthy or whatever award they give out to podcasts. Like, we could totally be in that conversation.
Yeah, it would be colorful. That's for sure.
Absolutely. So, all right, enough piling on Chris. And like I said, we're not talking Western Conference, so we'll move on from the NHL. Let me set the stage for what's coming up. So this is a shorter show, as you can see from the time on your dash or on YouTube. It's a shorter show than normal. I was able to cut some shorter conversations with some players when I was in Steele County for their opening weekend, which was last weekend. I did talk a little bit about the season. They had played a couple of games at that point, their start, what they think, and kind of how it's going with 2 players up there. Dante Zaffarano and Michael Trudeau, who goes by Mikey. 2 great kids, I'll call them, or young men, great players. Really, they were with us in the Dells last year, so we got to know them really well, and great personalities. So we talked with them. So those will be coming up later. But before we get there, kind of wanted to give a level set on both of how our Suns teams are doing this year. So Kev, I'll start with you. Last time we talked, I think they played their opening weekend and had the midnight barn burner against Kentucky. How have things gone since then?
So, went 0-2 in their first two games and then had their home openers against West Virginia. They won those two, went back out on the road against Virginia Tech and lost that one 6-2. And then went on the road and beat Alabama for their first road win. And then this past weekend, we were able to go up there, the family, and watch them play the University of Tampa, of all things. That's I believe, the past national championship for ACHA. I think D3 at the time. They're D2 now. But they were able to split the weekend series. They won on Friday night and then lost on Sunday afternoon. Good hockey. I was extremely impressed with the pace and the physicality. They're having a tough time just getting pucks in the net. Couple posts, couple crossbars, just no puck luck. I was happy to see that they were starting to go to the dirty areas and try to get it that way. But yeah, it's one of those years so far for them. They do have the skill, they do have the talent. It's just a matter of getting those bounces to go in. But it was fun. He's been able to play. He's only been scratched once as a freshie, so that's
Yeah.
More importantly, it's been fun to watch. It'd be nice to have a streaming service, a legit streaming service to watch it. But Tennessee, when they're at home, everything's on YouTube. It's free. It's kids that are, wanting to get into marketing and broadcasting. So we were able to meet them as well. And, they do a good job of entertaining. But yeah, more importantly, he's having fun. He's enjoying it. He's adapting. Again, it's a different pace when you're playing against guys that could be 23, 24 years old, a little bit heavier.
I did go to watch one of their games over the weekend. The timing was going to work out where my son's game would end and I'd be able to click over. And unfortunately, it was a night that the game before them in whatever rink they were in, I don't know if it's a ECHL team or a SFHL team, but there was a different team in the building that went late. They wouldn't let them set up their equipment. So their game started. They were still trying to get set up. So by the time the second period was starting to come along, it was getting a little late for this guy. So unfortunately, I couldn't stay up any longer to watch. So I didn't see it. However, did get a little birdie told me, Kev, that he may or may not have been involved in a nice little dust up the other night. Were you in the building for that? How did that go?
It was good. Yeah, no, it was on the Sunday afternoon. I believe it was Tampa's third goal. Kid that scored took some liberties to Tennessee's goaltender, and I was happy to see Six get on in there and mix it up. I don't know if he deserved the 14 minutes that they gave him since he ended up on the bottom of the pile, but at the end of the day, he was in there mucking it up and defending his teammates, and was happy to see that, because for those that know my son, he's the gentle giant for most of the time. So to see that edge and him get in there was it was fun to see. Mom didn't like it so much, but I loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Our friend and former guest, Yorgos Baikakis from the Florida Eels, is much more suited to play that game and muck it up heavy. But no, it's good to see Carter, with his size and being a defenseman and being that frontline defender of his tendy to get in there. And, even if he ended up on the bottom of the pile, he still started the pile. And that's probably
the pile.
That's where the extra two came from. He started it. So
yeah,
good for him.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes, but the team's doing well. So flip the script. Steele County Blades, Minnesota. You've been up there a couple times?
Yeah, it's been good. Good area, middle of nowhere. It is Midwest farm town for sure. There's some manufacturing there. It's that exact place that you're thinking of in your head right now is what it is. Everyone knows everybody. Everyone's super friendly. Hockey country. Great town. 45 minutes south of Minneapolis. So yeah, we're up there this past weekend. They had two games, one on the road and one at home. But again, because of where they are, the road was only an hour and a half away. So we traveled to enemy territory, watched a game there, and then watched the home game the next day. It was funny. Sully wasn't. So the Blades are 4-2. Good start. The early season hiccups. They've yet to put a 60-minute effort together. Nothing I'll say here, is new to the coaches. One thing we know them very well. It's our third season with the coaching staff, so we talk to them often. And I actually, I did the thing and sent a text during the game to the coach that I'm more friendly with, because I had seen something that the other team was doing on their changes. Right, they were slow changing, literally letting the play go up ice to have a kind of a cherry picker stay back and get lost.
Yep.
And I could tell by the bench setup, they couldn't see it, right? So I sent that message over, and then I asked him after the game, I'm like, hey, was that all right? And he's like, absolutely. If you see stuff like that, coaching stuff, 100%, like,
Yep.
let us know, because we don't always see everything. So, everyone's still trying to get their bearings to them, but the team hasn't played a full 60 yet. When they're good, they are one of the best teams in the division. The passing, the teamwork, the skating, moving without the puck, they do that better than most teams. And when they're skating hard, they're faster than everybody. But when they don't put that effort in and they try to play hero hockey, or they just kind of dump and chase and don't put that effort in, they get rolled, right? Flat-footed and second to the puck and all that. So the Saturday game I'll speak of here kind of quickly was interesting. So my son Sully was the backup goalie on Saturday night and didn't have a great start, and we were down 4-0 to a winless team in our division. And I think part of that was the boys probably thought they'd walk in there, just because they put the jersey on, they're going to get the W, and they got punched in the mouth pretty hard early on. Made a goaltending change, and early in the second, it was a 5-on-3. We're down 5-on-3. Two penalties. Goal got scored on my son, make it 5-1, and then he shut the door. And at the end of the final buzzer, 7-5, good guys came all the way back. Overcame the 4-goal deficit, played well across the board, just kept driving and did what he had to do. So after the weekend, though, playing that game in relief and actually playing Sunday in relief, they put him back on the bench as backup, and he got in that game also due to just going in on the other goaltender, and I do not blame him for the goal count. It was a team effort to give up the goals, but now that we're 3 games in, he's top 20 in the league for goals against average and save percentage. So hell of a start for him.
No, that's huge. It's just, from a team and a coaching perspective, right? You always want strong closers, that's for sure. Third period, if you can close, that's huge. But yeah, you want a 60-minute effort. And I know that we talked in between the games that he's had, and it seems to be one of those, let's start on time, gentlemen. The game
Correct.
starts, in the first and not in the third. But, the fact that they've been able to pull some of those wins out, that's huge. It's just a matter of figuring it out all the way through. So that's awesome. That's awesome. The fact that he's gone in relief and shut the door, that would, I would think, lead to some more opportunities to start down the road.
Yeah, and and he's and confidence. His confidence is growing. He actually said that to me on the phone the other day, that he feels like he's in a good place to start the year, and he feels good in net. He feels comfortable. He actually said it feels slow right now, which is a great thing to say as
Huge.
a goalie.
Yeah.
So he's confident, and that's, like you said, take advantage of the opportunities when they're presented to you, and then see what happens. And I think that's where he is. So yeah, happy for sure in the Sullivan household.
Confidence is everything. And the one thing I will add, just looking at the USPHL Premier, it looks like our friends at Vernal are back at it. They're
They
8-0 to start the season, which is wow, what a run that they've had. Interested to see how the season progresses there. I know they went undefeated in the regular season and then pulled off the championship after losing one game during the initial playoffs round robin there. So in nationals.
Yep. Yeah, it's that division again is off to the same start they were last year, and some great teams. All your normal players. Hampton Roads have shown up. Surprise out of the West, Ventura Vikings are off to a good start, playing really well. Your typical. I'm trying to think of the teams out of the mid central region. That's always really good. Besides Hampton Roads, Potomac Patriots are off to another good start. Yeah. So and then your Florida teams, the Eels and the juniors are kind of picking on each other, wow. And the junior Cats are a hot start here in Florida. So yeah, a lot of moving pieces early in the USPHL season for sure.
It's great to have it back.
It is always something to do. Yeah, it's just nice to be back in the saddle again. That's for sure.
Absolutely fantastic.
So, it sure is. Well, let's take a short break, and when we come back, we will hear from both Dante Zaffarano and Michael Trudeau of the Steele County Blades next in the Nest.
Hey, beauties. Season started? Not getting the birds to chirp your way? Head on over to greasypigeon.com for some gear.
We are joined by Dante Zaffarano of the Steele County Blades USPHL Premier Team. Dante, you have been around the USP for a little bit now. How many years have you played? Where have you been, and how did you get here?
So this is my third year. My first year I was in Chicago with the Chicago Cougars. And then last year I was in the Dells with the same coaches that came here, Logan and Chase. And then ultimately my off season kind of led me all around. supposed to be up at the NCDC this year, and had some like owner issues with the NCDC team kind of play into that. Decided it was best to come back here and get some more looks and try to move up to either the NA level or the NCDC again. And contacted Logan and Chase, asked them what's best for me, and they told me come here. So
that's awesome. I know Logan and Chase, a lot of guys from this team follow Logan and Chase.
Yep.
From the Dells here, and even a few more have followed them a couple of years now in their USP journey also. But talk a little bit about the NCDC piece. So you had a tender, you actually were up there skating with them. Like, what kind of breakdown, first of all, how you got there, right? Because a lot of the people that listen, they're in that mode of trying to figure out how to get to that next level.
Yeah. So ultimately, I mean, at the end of last year, Logan and Chase really did their best to kind of reach out and get that kind of advisor piece into me for getting into the NCDC, and they reached out to Sam Shaheen of the Presque Isle Frontiers, new coming Presque Isle Frontiers, and ultimately led me on that journey. And it was really great. I had some great talks with them at the end of last season, and when they decided they were parting ways from the Ducks, they really pushed me to go there, and went to main camp. It was a good main camp. We were up in Indiana. There was a bunch of teams that were at this main camp, and it was pretty fun. Skated, made the team ultimately on like the second day of main camp, which was very ideal. So I was comfortable playing the rest of main camp. And then training camp rolled around, and there was gonna be extra costs for training camp. And I ultimately decided, like, with how much I'm gonna pay, it's really not worth it. So that's when I reached out to Logan and Chase and decided here was best.
So what is it about your game that enticed the Frontiers to move you up to NCDC, and what is it about your game that you're bringing now back to the Prem level, looking to advance again?
Yeah, I think it's really just a character piece. I mean, off the ice, really easy to talk to, really outgoing. On the ice, I'm locked in, dialed in, 24/7, and I'm ready to go. And I think that's really what's key at this level. If you want to get called up, you just have to be a good character off the ice, have to have the work ethic and everything like that.
Perfect. And I failed to mention your position. So explain what position you play and what type of, whether it's forward or defense, that you are out there and how you're help driving your team.
Yeah, I'm a defense. I'm a very heavy two-way defenseman. I like playing offense, and obviously my defense piece is really good too. My offensive piece last year really strived. I jumped from 12 points my first year to 40 points last year. So it was a major improvement, and that's one of the things I really like about Logan and Chase is they allowed me to implement that into my game and really showcase that, and it helped a lot.
Absolutely. So on a personal note, you are obviously a very quiet guy based on your suit choice today. So I got to know, where does that come from? Like, not necessarily like what store you bought it at, but just where does that whole kind of attitude come from when you're going to dress like that walking
Yeah,
into the
I
game?
mean, it's really just you got to embrace it. I mean, my billet family bought this for me last year. I bought it around like October, and they were really they kind of pushed me to be outgoing. Obviously, with like the billets in junior hockey, you never really know what you're going to get. And I mean, being a teenager, you're scared to go in there. But those billets really push you, and the billets in the Dells were amazing. They strived me to do everything I wanted to do and pushed me into my like highest achievements. And they bought me the suit in October. Didn't wear it until December because I was a little shy. Wore it, and it just got so many looks, so much attention, and I decided I'm just going to roll with it against Steele County. Home opener. I mean, got to let the boys see it. Got to let them love it. Coaches downstairs already knew it was coming. They loved it too.
Good.
Definitely no shame in it at all, but I mean, you really just have to, like, that's a part of you. You have to embrace it.
Absolutely.
And if you can't embrace it, then I don't know.
What are you doing?
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously, for those watching, the lights came on halfway through the interview. We are in the rink. It is Steele County Blades home opener night up here in Owatonna, Minnesota. I still fumble over that name every chance I get.
Yeah.
You guys have played 2 games already. You're 2-0. Real quick, walk us through what the team looks like early in the season, and what are you guys really honing in on this weekend? You have a tilt tonight, and then again tomorrow, and tomorrow's is against the other undefeated team in the division.
I mean, I think it's really just a consistency piece. As long as we're playing consistent, we're throwing bodies, getting pucks in deep, and we're just getting to work, these systems are going to allow us to succeed in many ways. And I really think that's key.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're playing consistent at this level, you're going to win hockey games.
Yeah.
So I think that's what we have to do.
Good. Well, a couple fun ones. I'll let you get out of here. You got to get going. It's time to get moving.
Yep.
Pre-game meal.
It was pasta and chicken.
All right. Hype music.
Country.
Is it really?
It's really country, or it's just relaxing, calm music.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know. Early in the season, who is the absolute clown in the locker room?
Oh, absolute clown. It's got to be Xavier Lesperance.
Okay.
he's very much a clown.
And then last question. These go around. I love these ones. You may not have a sister, but let's pretend you do if you don't. Who in the room are you not letting anywhere near your sister?
Probably all of them. There's not a single one that I wouldn't. All of them aren't going near.
All of them. Perfect. Well, best of luck to you guys tonight. We'll be watching, and best of luck the rest of the way.
Sounds good. Thanks.
We're joined by Mikey Trudeau. Mikey is a forward with the Steele County Blades USPHL Premier Team. We are here at the home opener in Owatonna, Minnesota. Mikey, same question I asked your teammate Dante a second ago. How long have you been playing junior, and kind of what was your path to get here to Steele County?
Been playing junior. This is my second year.
Okay.
And I went up and I played 2 years of prep school in Quebec before I got here. And that was like more of a full season, kind of like a junior season. So I'd say like I've had about 3 years playing real full years now. So, yeah.
Okay. And how'd you end up in Steele County? I know you were, not to spill the beans, but you were with Chase and Logan and the Dells, and I know a lot of former teammates followed them here. Was that the same story with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Chase and Lilty are great guys, and when I heard that they were moving, I wanted in on the program. So
beautiful. You have kind of you have one of those non-traditional stories, like like my son Braden does too, where you came from a non-traditional hockey market, yet have still made it, into higher level hockey, and are still trying to get to even the next level. So,
absolutely.
What was real quick? What was your non-traditional story, and how did you get out of that market into, I'm guessing, prep school?
Yeah, I mean, growing up in Arizona, hockey is not one of the sports that's watched the most, so it takes a bit of a backseat to other sports like football, baseball, but there's still plenty of people who love the game out there. The game's growing; it's grown so much in the past 10 years. So, just with where the game's at in Arizona right now, we had eyes out there, and when I had an opportunity to go play somewhere else, further on the East Coast, more accessible to coaches out here, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely. So you, watching you now for 2 seasons, I know your game quite well. Explain what your game is and what makes you successful on the ice.
I'd like to say I'm a bit of a scrappier, spark plug kind of player. I know my role. My game is just go out there, play fast, physical, and try and make plays. Nothing too cute, but get my job done.
Not afraid to muck it up either.
Right.
You're getting a few scrums from time to time.
You know
also.
it. I like to play a little rent-free in the other guys'
Yeah,
heads, so.
absolutely. So how is 2 games into the season, you guys are 2-0. What is clicking on the team this year? What are you seeing that's maybe different from last year, or just what are you seeing that's working so well this year?
I just think we've got a lot of great personalities in the room. Like, last year we had a great group, but this year I feel like everybody's on the same page. We've all going out there to get the same job done, and that just speaks volumes to who our team is. Like, just one unified group this year is what it feels like.
Absolutely. So coming into your home opener, it's another small Midwest community where we anticipate there being some good fans in attendance, and they want to get behind this team if we can put a winning product on the ice. Right. From what Logan and Wilty are saying and what you see in the room, I mean, what is your outlook on the season this year?
I mean, we've got one goal, and that's to win. We want to win the division. We want to go to nationals, and we just want to compete, man. Like, every week we talk about getting better, and in February it's time when we need to show up and be better. So 1% every day, and we'll get the job done.
Absolutely. Home game tonight, home game tomorrow. Tomorrow should be both games, right? Every time you're on the ice is a challenge, but tomorrow, undefeated Blue Walks coming in from up the road. Yeah. It's going to be a test of what it looks like. But that's tomorrow. Tonight we got a game in front of you. And how do you go into a game, when you've got a team like the Blue Walks hanging out tomorrow, and not that Hudson is by any means going to be easy. They've put a very solid team together on the ice this year, and they're playing well early in the season. How do you mentally focus on what's about to happen tonight and not look too far ahead?
It just kind of feels like one day at a time. Even throughout the week, you just worry about Monday, and then you got Tuesday. So when it comes to the weekend, it's the same thing. We got to skate tonight, and we got another tomorrow. But just business to take care of.
Perfect.
Can't win them all if you don't win the first 4, right?
That's correct, absolutely. So a couple quick ones. I'll let you go. It's getting close to warm-ups time. Pre-game meal.
Pre-game meal. I had ravioli today. Oh. I like ravioli. A spaghetti, hopefully.
Okay.
Not huge on sauce. Not huge, but a little,
Putting any chicken or meatballs in there?
No, just we had a little chicken on the side, and then I went to Chipotle early in the day. So I had the chipper, and then I had the the ravioli a little later.
Perfect. There is a pile of snacks down on the table downstairs.
Yeah,
are you going to be diving into any of those, and if so, which one?
Absolutely. We've got peanut butter and jelly down there. We've got some fruit cups that I saw down there. I'm really going to tear into all of it. I've actually packed some snacks.
Snack.
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Pre-game music choice.
Pre-game music. I like rock, punk rock,
nice.
like 2000 stuff.
Okay. It's got some of the similar stuff I work out with in the gym.
Yeah,
I don't get into the rap, but give me the old rock stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And then
Early in the season, locker room just clown. Who is absolute clown in the locker room so far?
I'm going to say Jay Guards.
Okay.
Jay Guards is definitely one of those guys that we look at for a bit of a funny laugh. You know, he knows it. We give him a lot of crap for it, but he's good at it. So,
Right.
yeah.
And then last question. Don't know if you have a sister or not, but if you did, anybody specific in the room, you're keeping the hell away from your sister.
Andrew Igstrom. Andrew Igstrom isn't touching my sister with a 10-foot pole.
Perfect.
Man.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate having a little fun with us, taking a few minutes, and
Yeah.
wish you all the best tonight and the rest of the way.
Absolutely.
Thanks so
Thanks.
much.
Welcome back, everybody. Great conversations with Dante and Mikey, and great personalities and fun conversations at the end, asking them a couple of those, kind of what if questions and this or that and whatever. Kev, you've been around junior hockey a long time. You played it. You've coached hockey. You played junior hockey. You've watched your son play junior hockey. You've been involved. Now you're doing this. It's awesome to see the young men willing to talk and have fun and have personality and go out there and play hockey.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with hockey and specifically at the pro level is, you don't really get to see the peek behind the curtain that the other professional leagues, like there's personality there. I know that they might be trained to be robots and not give too much away to the opponent, but when you do get behind the curtain and you see the personality and the fun that the guys and gals have when they're together, it's awesome. That's what makes the game so fun. And, that's why a lot of people, when they leave it, that's the one thing they miss. It's not necessarily being on the ice and competing. It's the shenanigans, preparing for those games and the fun talks afterwards.
Well, Dimitri said so himself on our show a few shows ago that he missed the locker room and the brotherhood,
Yeah.
was kind of what you're getting at. And it's funny you say that because we interviewed, when I was there, for opening weekend, we did some social media and I interviewed two players in between periods. And one of them was a friend of ours, a friend of yours, Alex Wilkie from Florida here, and interviewed him. And his answers were they were great. They were full of personality, and that's his personality. He's a great kid, funny, but he was basically making fun of those canned answers as he gave those answers. And then when I posted the video, he commented like, "Oh, I forgot to get pucks in deep." He was again making fun of the conversation, so it's awesome when they have that personality. And at this level, man, they know how to talk. You hear it on the ice, as they know how to talk.
Yeah, it'll make definitely some grown men blush sometimes, but it's awesome. As long as they don't cross the line, right?
That's right.
It is
a
fun,
good
though.
time,
yeah,
for sure. Well, speaking of good time, this has been a great show, great conversations. Glad to get back in the saddle again with the hockey seasons kicking off, both NHL, junior, and everything in between. So, Kev, great show as always, and looking forward to talking with you next time here in the Pigeon's Nest. Cheers.